Hello and welcome back to the Stacey West YouTube channel, and welcome back to another preview video. It's Saturday, Tuesday, constant matches at the minute. So to preview Peterborough away, I'm joined by Kelan, one of the writers for the Real EFL. How are you doing, Kelan?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Are you?
Yeah, really good. Really looking forward to this game actually on Saturday. It should be quite a good one. I guess kind of the best place to start is, how are you guys looking at the minute? You know, are we expecting Saturday? I think we always expect going away to Peterborough to be a really, really tough match. Would you say that's a fair kind of assumption from us?
Yeah, no, I think this season we've looked well, or looked good in patches. We've won our first 3 games we won, and then we ended up having an unfortunate loss away at Northampton, and it slightly derailed us. I think our issue is we can perform well, but we struggle to kill teams off or make all of our good play. We don't really put it to good use sometimes, and then we allow the opposition back in. But from what I remember, whenever I've been to a Posh Lincoln game, they always seem to be quite good affairs and quite a lot of goals in it. So hopefully it'll be the same on Saturday.
Well, yeah, in recent history, that's not necessarily gone well for us in terms of the number of goals, considering the 4-0 thrashing we got at your place and the 3-0 thrashing we got at home to you guys last season. But yeah, it is one that I think Lincoln fans always look out for when the fixtures get released, and it's one that we're always kind of excited to go to, and it's always a good atmosphere. Well, we create the atmosphere. You guys just sit there, really, don't you? But so obviously, yeah, like I say, you mentioned you had a really good kind of start to the season. Then it kind of dropped away a little bit, and you had a few games. You know, what was it? 3 losses on the bounce in the league. Yeah. And then it kind of picked up with you're unbeaten now in 5 league matches. So do you see that as is that kind of upturn in form? I know you're kind of saying that you find it hard to kill off games, but is that sort of upturn in form evident in performances as well as results, or is it just the fact that, again, you've got your shortcomings, but you are able now just to pick up a couple of results?
Yeah, no, I think the 2 wins against Cheltenham and Bristol Rovers at home were solid victories. The Cheltenham victory was helped by the fact that obviously they're doing very poorly this season, and they went down to 10 men after, I think it was about 5 minutes. So it sort of made the game, it sort of played into our hands, and we managed to get a big win. And then the Bristol Rovers win recently was actually a very, very decent performance against the Bristol Rovers team that looked quite decent on the attack. But we managed to get those goals. And I think what I think one of our strengths this season is that we are utilising our squad relatively well. I think one of the goal scorers against Bristol Rovers was David Adjaboy, who barely featured last season, got a goal. And I think Ricky J. Jones as well has been on the fringes a bit at Posh for the last few seasons, been in and out of the team. Yeah, quite a young player that's managed to maybe make it now, and he's done well recently. So it'll be interesting to see how the game plays out on Saturday, because we look strong at home. We look strong at home recently.
Well, that again is something that is kind of worrying in that fact. You've only lost 1 home game, and that was to Derby. So it's hardly a sort of a devastating loss when you think about it. One thing I want to pick up on then, Kelan, is I always get the stats up, and one of the things I always look at first and foremost is how much possession a team has. And it kind of stems on the question I'm going to ask. Kind of stems on from something you've already sort of briefly mentioned. So your possession in the league, there's only 1 league game where you've had less than half of the ball.
Yeah,
where the opposition sat, and that was Charlton at home early on in the season. Apart from that, you're looking at like 55, 60, 65% possession in every game. Now, we're a team who are so much, I don't want to say so much more because I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful to us, but we are really, really comfortable without the ball. And our out of possession work is top tier, really.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, we're going to let you have the ball, and you're going to obviously have to come on to us. And you've already kind of mentioned it's something you're going to struggle with. Do you think that's kind of a really worrying thing for you guys, and actually you would much prefer us to come and attack you at your place because it'll make you feel, like I say, it'll really bring you out your shell? Would that be the kind of game plan you'd want rather than what is going to happen in us sitting back and you're going to have to come at us?
Yeah, no, I think this season we've seen it in certain games. I think Leyton Orient and Carlisle are two examples where Leyton Orient tried to play, on the counter attack, but they were very much a team that tried to stifle us going forward, and had a lot of men sit back, and especially I think Carlisle did it effectively against us. Realised that we're going to have a lot of the ball and chances, but if we don't put those chances away, they only really need one or two attempts, and they could maybe get a fortuitous goal, and they unfortunately got that. So I think that's the only issue with us. We're a bit toothless, and I think I don't know if you've seen Darren Ferguson's comments recently. He had a little bit of a rant post Mansfield because we got knocked out in the EFL Cup. He said that same bottling mentality that was there last season when we obviously got knocked out by Sheffield Wednesday is still apparent. So I think he's a bit frustrated because there's so much more to come from the team. And I think in certain games this season, we've had a lot of the ball. But sometimes having a lot of the ball doesn't necessarily mean you're going to, win convincingly. You need to do a lot more than just that. And I think, as you've mentioned, if Lincoln play that sort of style where you sit back and your off the ball game is very good, we will panic a little bit, and Lincoln could have a way into the game on Saturday. It'd be interesting.
Well, let's very much hope that is the case. And it's kind of a funny one when you're obviously talking about the fact that a little bit kind of toothless in attack and that sort of thing. When you've got Johnson Clark-Harris up top, now obviously if things on deadline day had gone differently, we may not be having this conversation about Johnson Clark-Harris right now, but he is still at Posh, still your top goal scorer for this season. I guess the kind of question is how much did everything that happened on deadline day at the end of the transfer window, has it phased him in his form since, or has he just been able to carry on being a complete professional?
No, the weird thing is, I think before, transfer deadline day, the start of the season, he wasn't really firing on all cylinders. And I think, before he left, there was, rumours he was going to leave. So I don't know if our play at the start of the season was more centred on, Johnson Clark-Harris will most likely leave. So we're going to be playing a different brand of football, and, he'll fit in wherever. But I think since, obviously, the mental deadline day news of his move falling through at the final hour, he's really picked up his form, and those 4 goals, as you mentioned, he got 2 against Mansfield and he scored against Derby as well. His form's probably picked up in the last few weeks, and I don't really think it's phased him too much because obviously he must have been gutted because I think he has family near Bristol and as well liked at Bristol Rovers in his last spell. But I don't think it's really phased him because he's been at Posh, a number of years. He's still our main man in attack. Obviously, he doesn't wear the captain's armband anymore, but he's still, that potent goal scorer that you need. He scored away at Bolton as well, and he's always reliable. If a game's 0-0 or struggling a little bit, you go, well, if Clark-Harris gets even a half chance, we could probably sneak a goal. But no, I don't think he's been too phased by it because Fergie's alluded to it in his comments as well after matches. He's been, impressed by how much of a professional Clark-Harris has been. So no, I don't think he's been too phased by it all.
Well, that's a real positive for you. And we talk all the time about sort of players always putting their body on the line, doing everything they need to do, being utmost professionals and all of this. And some people sit there and say, well, they get paid to do that. It's, and it's a real kind of easy thing to say by saying that. But actually, at the end of the day, they are all humans. Like you say, exactly, he probably did want to move, not necessarily because he wanted to leave Peterborough, but maybe because he wanted to go to Bristol Rovers. And whatever factors it was, and obviously it didn't go through. So then to see him continuing to play for you guys and actually just get into a bit of a more vein of form it's always, obviously it's not very nice to see in the fact that we're playing you on Saturday, but it's always good when you kind of see players doing that rather than, throwing their toys out the pram, let's say. Another player that I'd really like to pick up on, and this is a player I very, very much like, and I'm surprised that he didn't move in the summer, is your only outfield player, let's say, to play every minute so far this season, and that's Ronnie Edwards. Now, incredible player as far as I'm concerned, and I think you've really, really got a talent on your hands there. First of all, how on earth did you manage to keep him? And second of all, just tell us all how good he is.
Yeah, no, I think there was a lot of, Darren McAntony on Twitter and Darren Ferguson as well in press conferences. We're astounded as you were, and as much as the Peterborough fan base were, that we managed to keep hold of him. I don't know if there's I know West Ham and I think Southampton are interested in him, and even Rangers in Scotland. But I think it's a case of they're not willing to splash the big cash on him yet.
Yeah.
And almost Ronnie has to prove himself a bit more, which I find remarkable, because the amount of young talents that have left the EFL and gone on to bigger and better things is remarkable. And, touching on Ronnie's game, he's going to be another one of those that will, most likely play in the Premier League. I mean, he seems destined for it. I mean, he's extremely calm on the ball, but when we were even in our, struggling in the Championship in our one season when we went up, he's really good against physical defenders as well. I remember him, I think we played Fulham at home, and he did a bit of a job on strikers like Alexander Mitrovic, and he was a 19-year-old kid at that point. So, and obviously last game he scored his first ever senior goal when we won the up against Carlisle. But I think he's just, he's a very calm player on the ball, very good in the tackle. But also, I know we touched upon Johnson Clark-Harris being a great professional. Ronnie Edwards as well. At 20 years of age, when you've got the big club going after you, you could slightly be fazed by it. But he seems to have a real good head on his shoulders, and I think he understands. And I think we all know that the big move's going to happen. There's no real rush for it. And whilst we've got Ronnie available to us, he'll hopefully continue performing as well as he has been.
I think this is the big thing, because we feel the same with somebody like Sean Rowan, who we've got as our 19-year-old left-footed centre half. And the thing is with Sean Rowan is his contract was up in the summer, but we'd offered him one, and he ended up choosing to stay with us. And this was the thing; it was just there was no need, as far as we thought as fans, for him to rush into a bigger move, not really play as much football, not get the chance to develop as much as he very much could do here, and It's those kind of situations that are actually win-wins for both the player, other clubs that are then looking at them, and like I say, Peterborough and Lincoln in that case. So I think we are going to have a look at rounding it off. And the way I always like to round it off, Kelan, is with a score prediction. Now, this is actually a 6-pointer because we beat you, we go above you, and potentially into the playoff places. Not that I'm looking at the table, but yeah, if we beat you, we go above you in the table, and that will be rather fun. But no, it really doesn't matter like that until the end of the season. But genuinely, score prediction, how do you see it going?
No, it'd be interesting, because obviously we conceded at the death at Carlisle last time out, and that might affect the players a little bit. But I think we performed well at home recently. We'll go 2-1 Posh.
Okay. I am going to go for a 1-1 draw. Very similar to how it was for you guys against Carlisle, in the fact that I do think you'll score, but I think you'll struggle to break us down on the whole, and I think we'll be able to get a goal at some point in the game. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it was a very, very similar result and performance from your side as what Carlisle was for you. So that's very much how I'd like to see it going. And to be honest, if you offer me a point right now, I'd snap your hand off. That's just the way it is. And one last question. Now, Kelan, I want to know, have you heard the comments from Jurgen Klopp this week regarding matches, him wanting matches to be replayed because of a terrible referee decision after the Liverpool goal was disallowed last week, when it actually shouldn't have been? Now, I would very much like our game against you guys, when Sammy Schmodix decided to fall over in the penalty area, for that 3-3 draw. I want that game replayed.
Oh God.
So I'll let you go back to Peterborough. You can tell them all that that's what we want. No, yeah. When I heard those comments on social media over the last couple of days, it was the first thing that popped into my mind was that dive. In fact, not even.
Oh God.
It was a dive.
I would just like the game to be replayed over and over again with how it went out, so I could just see us get promoted over and over again.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that one. No. Well, there ain't going to be any promotions on Saturday, but there could be points on the table for either team or both teams to push us both closer to the playoff positions and hopefully get us in a better position at the end of the season. So, Kelan, thank you so much, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Likewise, mate. Likewise.
Thank you. And guys, make sure to go check out all the other content. The podcast will be out now as well. Again, go check it all out. Up the imps.